Hello everyone, welcome back to Maximum Automation. As part of this series, today we are going to learn how to create the project in C# based on the page object model. We'll see how the page object model works and how a page factory library works. And we'll also try to run a small test to make sure that the project we have created is working fine. So let's start then. First of all, I'll be creating a new project. To create a new project, click on File and then choose a new project. After that, you have to select the project type. So the ID which I'm using is Visual Studio Community Edition, right? We can see in another video that how to create a new project using a VS Code. Now, because we are going to create a test framework to automate the application, so here you can filter the project type as a test. And here it will list all the test projects which we can create. Like we can create a MS test project for C# or NUnit test project or XUnit test project. You can choose any test project, either MS test, NUnit, or XUnit. And using any of the project types, you can create your page object model framework. So now I'm going to create a NUnit test project. In another session, we can see how to create a test project with MS test or XUnit. After that, click on Next. Then at this screen, provide the project name, and I'm going to name it as Page Object Model. This is the location where this project will be created. And then you can also provide the solution name, which can be the same as the project name. Or if you want, you can create a solution name different from the project name. So here I'm going to name the solution as an automation framework. After that, click on Next. And then at this screen, we need to provide the target framework of our project type. Microsoft provides a different target frameworks, and we need to make sure the target framework which we choose should be installed on the machine where we'll run our project. These are the different target frameworks which we can use. And for this project, I'm going to use the framework as .NET 6, which is the latest framework. You can see here some frameworks which are out of support now. So I would suggest not to use these frameworks. After that, hit the Create button to create your project. Now the project has been created, and this is the default structure of our test project. Here we have one sample and unit test file, and here we have all the dependencies listed for this project. We can add further dependencies as well based on our requirement. These dependencies are basically the libraries which expose their methods so that we can use those methods to perform the operation. Now to create an automation framework or to automate web applications, we need Selenium libraries to be added in our project. And then we can use the Selenium methods to interact with the objects of a web application. To add the dependency, right-click over here and select Manage NuGet Packages. Then here at NuGet Package Manager, search for Selenium package. And then select selenium.webdriver from the list and choose the latest version to install. This is how we can install and add the dependencies in our project. After that, install this selenium.support package as well. Here you can see we are getting all installed packages listed over here. Then the next package which we need to install is pagefactory for .NET. Here this pageObject.core provides an implementation of pagefactory. With the help of this package, we can use pagefactory in our framework. Now, I have installed the basic packages required for creating a project using page object model. So let's close this NuGet package manager. And if I go to the project file, then you can see that all the packages which I have downloaded are now added as a part of the project dependencies. Now the next thing which we need to do is to create page objects and test classes. Page object classes will have all the page elements and the methods which perform operations on the page, where the test classes will have the test cases or test methods which will use the page object class to automate the tests. So I'm going to create two folders. First is the source folder, where I'll place all the page object classes and other utilities classes. Then the another folder test, which will contain all the test classes. Now I have these two folders, source and test. In the source folder, I'll further create a new folder as pages. Under this page folder, I'll keep all the page classes. And to create a page class, do the right click on the page folder, then add a new class. Here I'm going to create a class for the home page of the application with the name as home page. So in this class, we'll add all the page elements and then the methods for home page operations. First of all, let's create a constructor for this home page class, which we can use to initialize the object of this class. And in the constructor, we'll initialize the WebDriver object, which will be passed in the constructor argument. So first, let me create a class variable for the WebDriver object by typing iWebDriver driver, and then import the openqa.selenium library to use the iWebDriver interface. And then I'll pass the iWebDriver object in the constructor argument as well. So whenever we initialize the object of this class, then we have to pass the WebDriver object as well. And then using the WebDriver object passed in the argument, I'll initialize the WebDriver object of this class. Now the next thing is to add the page methods and page elements in this home page class. So let's move to the application. Let's say my application is amazon.com, and this is the home page of my application. And on this home page, I can search for an item by typing the item name in this search box. Let's say if I need to search for a Selenium WebDriver book, then I can type the same in the search box. So to enter the item name, we need to first locate this search box by using one of the Selenium locators. I'm using the Chrome Dev tool to identify the search box. And here you can see the ID of this search box. So I can use the ID locator to identify this element. Now to search for an item, I can create a page method over here called search, where we can pass the item to be searched in the argument. And then we need to look for the element on the web page on which we want to perform the user action. To find the element, we can use driver.findElement. And then we can pass by.id and the ID value of the search text box. So this will find the element over the web page, and then we can perform the operation on the returned web element. But one thing to notice over here, that I have directly used the element locator inside the function. So if I'm going to use the same approach, then I have to use the same line of code in every method whenever I need to perform an action on a search text box. And if the element locator changes in future, then I need to replace it all over the places I have used it, which is not a good practice. So to avoid that, we have to create the class variables for storing all the web elements of a web page. So in case the element changes in future, then we have to replace it only at a single place. Now we can store the page element locator values by two ways. One is that we can create a by object to store the locator value, and then we'll use another method which will find the web element by using the by object locator value, which we have stored for the page element. And then we can use the same element in our method to perform the operation. So this sounds confusing, right? Yes, it is. And to simplify this problem, we have a concept called page factory. So page factory is a class which helps to implement the page object model. By using the page factory concept, we can directly initialize the page elements or objects. And using the page factory, we can keep our page object and test classes separately. Now let's see how we can use the page factory to initialize the page elements. To initialize the page objects by using the page factory, we need to use an attribute called findSpy, which we can do by using the Selenium extras.page objects. So this will find the element for us on the web page. We need to provide that how we want to find the element by using how equal to how.id if the locator type is id. And then we need to pass the locator value by typing using equal to and then the locator value. So when we'll run our test, then this attribute findSpy will find the element over a web page by using these details. And then we'll store the returned element to this object of web element. Now we don't need to worry about finding the web elements on the page. And I can remove this line from here, because now I can directly use page element for search text box. And then I can use the send keys method to enter the text on the search box. Now to find the elements on the web page, Page Factory needs the WebDriver object as well, because without the WebDriver, elements cannot be located. And we have not passed any WebDriver object to findSpy attribute or any other method of Page Factory. So to initialize the Page Factory with the WebDriver object, we can use pagefactory.initelements method, where we can pass the WebDriver object and the object of this page class. Here the page class is the same as the home page, so I can pass this in the parameter. Now this initElements method will initialize the WebDriver object, and the page elements will be searched by using the same WebDriver object. Now to complete the search operation, we need to click on the search icon as well, so that the item can be searched. And to click on the icon, I need to find the locator for this element as well. Here also we have the ID associated with this element, so I can use the same to find this web element. First, I'll create a new class variable for the search button page element. And then again, I'll use the findSpy attribute to find the element on the web page by using the ID locator. And then the locator value. After that, let's perform the click operation on the search button. Now, our page object class is ready. And currently, I have one search method and two page elements added into this class. Similarly, we can add other page elements of the home page into this class by using the page factory method. And then we can use those web elements inside the page methods, like we used in this search method. Now the next thing is to create a test class where we'll write the test method, which will basically contains the test cases or test scenarios. So to add a test class, do the right click on the test folder and then add a new class over here. And I'll call this class as home test. Now this home test class will contain the test methods which will drive the automation test. And to create the test method, I'll use the NUnit annotation or attribute. So to create a test method, we have to use the test attribute before every method. And then you can add the test method. I'm calling this test method as search book. To perform the search operation on the home page, first we need to create the object of the home page class, where we have stored our page elements and the page methods by using a new home page. And to create the object, we need to pass the WebDriver object into this home page constructor. So let's first create the WebDriver object. I'll create the WebDriver object in a separate method which will be attached with the attribute called setup. Because we need the WebDriver object to be created before each test, so we can initialize the WebDriver object in setup method. This method with setup attribute will be called before each and every test method. Means every time this setup method will get executed before each test method. If we have 10 test method in this class, then this setup method will be called 10 times. Now let me create a class variable for the WebDriver object so that same can be used across the methods of this class. And then I'll initialize the driver object with the new Chrome driver. Let's suppose now we want to run our test on Chrome browser only. Now to initialize the web driver with Chrome driver, we have to pass the Chrome driver binary file. And for each version of the Chrome browser, we need to provide the compatible binary file for Chrome driver. So the solution to this problem is WebDriver Manager. You can watch my another video on WebDriver Manager. The link is given in the I button above. To use the WebDriver Manager, we need to first download the NuGet package for the same. So let's go to the NuGet package manager and then search for a WebDriver Manager. Select the WebDriver Manager from the list and then install the package. Once done, then we can go back to the home test class. And then here type new driver manager, which can be used by using WebDriver Manager. Then type dot setup driver and pass new Chrome config in the argument. So this one line of code will handle the Chrome driver binary file dependencies for us. We don't need to download the binary after each Chrome upgrade. So if the version of my browser get updated, then it will automatically download the latest binary version for the Chrome driver. Now that the driver object has been initialized, so I can pass this driver object into this home page constructor. And now let's first open the web application by using driver.navigate.go-to-URL method, where I can pass the URL of the application. Here I have directly used the navigation to go to the page URL, but you can create another page method here and then use the driver.navigate method inside the page method. Now after that, let's call the search method of the home page by using hp.search, and then I'll pass the search item name as WebDriver book. So I have created one test method which I can execute, and to run it, we can open the text explorer, which will display all the available test methods in the project. So here we should have one test method, but we are getting two test methods because one sample test method was automatically added in the project. So let me delete this class as we don't need it. Now we have only one test method here, and to run it, I can select the test and then hit on the run button to execute the test. So the execution started and the site cannot be reached. Okay, the URL is incorrect. Let's go back to the project and let me update the URL. And also let me add the assertion to make sure that the test passes or fails. We can add the assertions by typing assert, and I'm using the true method to check that the condition returned should be true. So if the condition returned is true, then my test case will pass. If it returns false, then my test case will fail. And I'm adding the condition as driver.title.contains web driver book. So if the title of the browser is the same as the search item, then our condition is passed, as it means that we have landed on the search result page. And also let me quit the WebDriver object after each test run. So we talked about the setup attribute, which will run before each and every test method. Similarly, we have a tear down attribute as well, which will run after each test method. So we can use this tear down attribute to clean up all the prerequisites or objects which we have created for our test. And inside this method, I'll quit the WebDriver object. Now let me run the test again. And this time you can see the web page displayed. And you can see here, it typed the WebDriver book in the search box and clicked on the search button. So the execution is complete and we can see that the test result is passed. So this is how we can create our test framework based on page object model. This is very basic example which I have took. In further videos, we'll see how to extend this framework. I hope you liked this video. Please put your comments in the comment box. Also, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.